Time for us to take you around the Big Ten, and the dynasty continues in Columbus. For the 17th time in program history, Ohio State is your Big Ten tournament champion. Ty Tucker has just built an absolute monster at OSU. Michigan women's tennis, not far behind. The Wolverines keep rolling as well as Michigan women's tennis claims the Big Ten tournament title for the third consecutive season. What a weekend it was for the Maize and Blue across a couple of different sports. And at Scioto Country Club, also in Columbus, is a great story from the Big Ten Men's Golf Championships. Northwestern wins both the individual and team titles. Daniel Savard taking home medalist honors for the Cats as David Ingles and Northwestern also wins the team title. There was the draft this past weekend, then there are undrafted free agents, and then there's even another level that I wasn't sure I'm even aware of. Taulia Tagovailoa, former Maryland quarterback, has been invited to Seattle Seahawks camp, but not signed by the Hawks for a rookie tryout. Now, other players have actually been signed to different squads, and we'll get to those in just a little bit. This is such a unique situation for Leah. He has a chance to go in there and prove that he is worth signing, but also if I'm him, if I'm the quarterback, I'll say, I'll try out, but I don't want to get hit because I don't want to get hurt. I got to be ready for another team if you don't sign me.
Well, they're looking for something. We would have these, and it's very difficult. It's usually a player that somebody likes, and you'd hope to sign them, but there's something in there, a red flag that you want to check out. So if you can get the player to come in like Leah's doing, it gives them a possible opportunity. If you want to play in the NFL, you got to do what you got to do.
I'm not sure how this is a detriment to Seattle. You bring him in, you're not paying him really any money. You're probably
plane
paying
ticket.
Him per diem, plane ticket, maybe a day worth of a salary to be there and try out. We'll obviously update you, see if Leah's able to make the roster. Other players who were undrafted did sign with teams. Isaiah Williams, who is a terrific wide receiver with Illinois over the last couple of years. You remember, you think back to his start of his career in Champaign. He came in as a quarterback, transitioned to wide receiver, so he's fairly raw there. A lot of ceiling upside for Williams. He has signed with the Detroit Lions.
He did, and he got a lot of money. I mean, he's got about as much money, and we had him slated as like a fourth-round draft pick. You know, 80 catches a year for 2 years in a row, team captain. I mean, he checked all the boxes except maybe he wasn't as big as some of these guys, height-wise. So that hurt him, but they want him. When they give you up over, I mean, he got a lot of money, a couple $100,000 supposedly is the talk. Guaranteed money as a free agent, that's better than being drafted in the 6th round.
Well, and a lot of folks will say sometimes it is better to be undrafted than to go in the 6th or 7th round because then you get to pick and choose which team you think fits your skill set the best. Maybe Williams sees that with the Detroit Lions and a very different look under Dan Campbell and obviously a team that's on an upward trajectory. Aaron Casey, the linebacker from Indiana, really productive. I guess the questions with Casey is the lack of athleticism, and can he overcome that to still be productive in the NFL? Yeah,
and that's exactly it, you know, but he's going to get a chance, get in there at camp. Obviously, we know all the stats, first team, Big Ten, tackles for loss, led the Big Ten. He's going to have to make an impact on special teams, Rick. You know what I mean? Because they're probably not going to put him in a lot of situations where he's going to get a lot of playing time early as a linebacker, but every time they say, who can cover a kickoff, coach, I can do it. Who can cover a punt, coach, I can do it. So special teams will be the key. When we look back on Casey, whether he makes it with the Bengals or not, it'll come down to special teams.
Yeah, you also got to make some plays early in this rookie camp because you're going up against other rookies. Those are the guys that you need to beat out for their spot. You need to go from the jump. Let me take you back to your coaching days. What do you remember about this time? The draft is over, and you're sitting there with your guys, and you're thinking, what holes do we have to fill, and what undrafted free agents are we looking at? Because there are still a million guys out there for the taking.
Absolutely, and picture it this way. You're a scout. I'm a position coach. You have one or two players that you really fell in love with that you know are going to be late-round picks. I've got one or two that I really love. So when we would get down to about the 6th round, I would team up guys, scout with a coach, and they would go in and start calling their play. You'd call your guy, I'd call mine and say, I hope you get drafted, but if you don't, we want to sign you here as a free agent, and you know me as a coach, I'm going to give you a chance to make the team. You're saying the same thing, but to a different kid. Picture it. So this is all going on. Now the draft is over, and I'd call everybody in real quick and say, here's the board. This is the 25 to 50,000 names. Okay, me and the GM would do it. This is 50 to 75. Anything over 100, you got to come and check with us. So go to it. And they would go in there. You'd be calling your guy. I'd be calling my guy. The best recruiters.
So hold on. During the draft, it's still going on.
Oh, they're working the phone.
Coaches calling players.
Yes.
To tell them that they're going to be undrafted free agents if they're not picked. Don't you feel a little bit bad? The kid picks up the phone and he thinks to himself, I'm about to get drafted.
Coach,
and you're telling him, hold on, we may or may not want you after the draft is over.
You think Michigan doesn't talk to kids and then not offer them a scholarship? But then they get them on the rebound. So it's all about recruiting and laying groundwork and building a relationship. That's what it all comes down to. I'm telling you, free agency, it's crazy for about 2 hours in there with the scouts and everybody. Coach, if I can get 10 more thousand, I can get him.
We're talking about all the phone calls. Nobody's making calls anymore. They're texting all these guys. Nobody's on the phone.
I'm on the phone, Coach.
Well, I don't want to say it, but you know what I'm going to say. For Dave and all of our guests, I'm Rick, and we really appreciate you hanging with us on this edition of Big Ten Today. Make a call.